Really quick breakdown today of a very common plant that might be in your yard right now. This is Pellitory, also known as cucumber weed or Parietaria pennsylvanica. And yes, it definitely tastes like cucumber. Here I'm picking it from an organic farm. It likes disturbed areas and it has an affinity for calcium. So you find it around stones, rocks, mortar. And picking it at an organic farm is kind of important because this plant can concentrate heavy metals if it's growing in an area that's polluted. So think urban areas, because it is also very common in urban areas. What you saw there are just the tender tips of the plant, and that's what I'm going to pick to use. And they wilt very fast. It's a very delicate plant. So if you soak them in water, they're going to come right back for you. Like I said, the plant has an affinity for calcium and rocks. It loves to grow in my landscaping stones in my yard. But we're just picking the tender tips of the plant, and I'll show you what you can do with them. There's a lookalike, there's a few, but this is the biggest one, 3-seeded mercury, and you can see the leaves here are toothed, and it also has similar flowers at the leaf axils, but the kind of bigger thing is that to me, this plant is much more woody, and it doesn't really feel like something that you're going to want to use as a food. It does grow side by side with Pellitory in my yard, and they're both very, very common plants, so it is a good one to know. And it should be slightly toxic to cats, so don't feed it to the kitty. So with the Pellitory, to kind of play with that cucumber flavor, one thing we can do is you might put it with a cucumber salad. So I'm going to take a seedless cucumber here, and I'm going to cut the middle portion with the seeds out, and then we'll cut it into dice or maybe some little diamond shapes, kind of whatever you want to do. Cut those up, put those into a bowl, then I'll season it with a little bit of sliced lemon balm, or basil or mint is really good, because the Pellitory is not going to have a ton of flavor. It is kind of a novelty. There's a little bit of ramp salt, never made anything taste bad. And you'll see I'm going to use some of the Pellitory here. This plant is basically just like cannon fodder if I want some quick wild plants to put in something. You're not going to get a lot of flavor from putting them into the dish like that when they're chopped up. The flavor is going to come from eating the whole tender sprigs and tender young growing tips of the plant. So those are going to go on the end as a garnish. I just add a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt, a little bit of lemon juice. You can see I have some bell flowers to garnish it there, a little bit of lemon at the end just to brighten it up. And then we'll put some whole sprigs of the plant on at the end, and that's where we're going to get that cucumber flavor. Now, because the plant it's a little bit tough and a little bit hairy, a good thing to do is I've been taking it and just putting it into smoothies. So I literally just took that salad and put it in a blender. I added an avocado, and I'll add a few ice cubes here. Now, if you want to serve it warm, one thing that's really great is to add a little bit of warm chicken stock. And we'll just buzz that up until it's velvety smooth. Now, this is a good way to get around that kind of tough, furry texture. Drizzle it with a little bit of olive oil and a pinch of salt, and that can make a decent breakfast. Now, the plant is very small, but sometimes there can be a lot of it, so you can also just cook it in a blend of greens. Here, I have it with just some dandelions and other bitter greens from my yard, and we're going to make my green cakes. We just blanch the plants, squeeze the water out, and the full video of this is on my website. Recipe is on my website too. Chop those greens up, and then we'll put them into a bowl. Add a little bit of flour and egg as a binder, a little bit of salt and pepper, a pinch of nutmeg. Patty those cakes up, and then we just fry them up. This is an easy way to incorporate the plant, but it's not really going to change your life. It's more of just cannon fodder and something I would use in a mix of greens. Make sure to cook the cakes and get a really nice crust on them. Then you can serve them with a little bit of dip or maybe just a lemon wedge. And that's an easy way to use and get to know this plant. There you go. Just a little breakdown of Pellitory, a really common plant that might be growing in your yard right now and has a strange taste of cucumber. Recipes and more information are on my website. There's a link at the top of the video description for that. Thanks for watching.